Time for convening having arrived. The Senate will come to order. Would ask unauthorized visitors to exit chamber at this time, and the Senate will come to order. Call upon the distinguished Rules Chairman, Senator from the 53rd.
Good morning, Mr. President. Here on the 26th legislative day, the journal's been read and found to be correct.
Thank you, Senator, for your good works on the journal. Is there objection to dispensing of the reading of the journal? The reading of the journal is dispensed with. Is there objection to the confirmation of the journal? Chair hears none, and the journal is confirmed. All senators having bills and resolutions to introduce, please bring them to the Secretary's desk at this time. First reading and reference of Senate bills and resolutions.
Senate Bill 225 by Senators Stone of the 23rd and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 3 of Chapter 6 of Title 17 of the OCGA relating to proceedings for forfeiture of bonds or recognized.
Non-civil.
Senate Bill 226 by Senators Gooch of the 51st and others. A bill to be entitled an act
Slow-go general bill.
Senate Bill 227 by Senators Miller of the 40th and others.
Insurance and labor.
Senate Bill 228 by Senators Beach of the 21st and others.
Slow-go general bill.
Senate Bill 229 by Senators Mullis of the 53rd and others.
Insurance and labor.
Senate Bill 230 by Senators Harper of the 7th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 4 of Title 4 of the OCGA.
Natural resources.
Senate Bill 231 by Senators Loudermilk of the 14th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 10 of Chapter 21 of Title 15.
Judiciary non-civil.
Senate Bill 232 by Senators Crane of the 28th and others.
Judiciary non-civil.
Senate Bill 233 by Senators Crane of the 28th and others. A bill to
Judiciary
be entitled
non-civil.
Senate Resolution 410 by Senators Orrock of the 36th and others.
Rules Committee.
Senate Resolution 412 by Senator Schaefer of the 48th and others.
Finance Committee.
Senate Resolution 415 by Senators Schaefer of the 48th and others.
Finance Committee.
Senate Resolution 416 by Senators Crane of the 28th
Judiciary
and others.
non-civil.
Through with the order, Mr. President.
First reading and reference of House bills and resolutions.
House Bill 141 by Representatives Lindsay of the 54th and others. A bill.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 187 by Representatives Dickerson of the 113th and others.
Judiciary non-civil.
House Bill 210 by Representatives Nimmer of the 178th and others.
Finance.
House Bill 226 by Representatives Nix of the 69th and others.
Natural resources.
House Bill 252 by Representatives Quick of the 117th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to provide that future.
Slow-go.
House Bill 302 by Representative Broderick of the 4th and others.
Health and Human Services.
House Bill 315 by Representatives Cooper of the 43rd
Health
and others.
and Human Services.
House Bill 328 by Representatives Carter of the 175th and others.
Slow-go.
House Bill 329 by Representatives Carter.
Slow-go.
House Bill 36 by Representatives Powell of the 171st and others.
Judiciary.
House Bill 384 by Representatives Roberts.
Transportation.
House Resolution 205 by Representative Neal of the 2nd and others. A resolution authorizing the conveyance of
State and institutional properties.
through with the order, Mr. President.
Clerk read reports of standing committees.
Mr. President, the Senate Agriculture and Consumer Affairs Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that House Bill 234 do pass by substitute, that Senate Bill 209 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Wilkinson of the 50th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Finance Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 145 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Hill of the 32nd. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Health and Human Services Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 195 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Unterman of the 45th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Judiciary Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 127 do pass, that Senate Bill 204 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator McCune of the 29th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Judiciary and Non-Civil Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 101 do pass by substitute, that Senate Bill 116 do pass, that Senate Bill 197 do pass, that Senate Resolution 59 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Stone of the 23rd. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Retirement Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 178 do pass by substitute. Respectfully submitted, Senator Miller of the 40th. Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate State and Local Governmental Operations Committee has had under consideration the following the legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that House Bill 376 do pass, that House Bill 415 do pass, that House Bill 416 do pass, that House Bill 417 do pass, that House Bill 440 do pass, that Senate Bill 199 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ligna III, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate's Local General Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that Senate Bill 160 do pass by substitute, that Senate Bill 168 do pass by substitute, that Senate Bill 179 do pass by, that House Bill 414 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Ligna III, Chairman. Mr. President, the Senate Transportation Committee has had under consideration the following legislation and has instructed me to report the same back to the Senate with the following recommendation: that House Bill 202 do pass by substitute, that Senate Bill 218 do pass. Respectfully submitted, Senator Gooch of the 51st, Chairman. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Clerk will read bills and resolutions for the second time.
Senate Bill 76 by Senator Jackson II and others, returning Veterans Task Force, create membership. Senate Bill 95 by Senator Miller of the 40th and others, elections. Counties utilize a chief executive officer, county commission form of government, nonpartisan elections. Senate Bill 119 by Senator Thompson of the 5th and others, Stevenson-Gibson Act, definitions. Senate Bill 121 by Senator Ramsey of the 43rd and others, license plates, retired members of the General Assembly. Senate Bill 136 by Senator Miller of the 49th and others, Kyle Glover Boat Education Law and Jake and Griffin BUI Law, provide for greater public protection for hunting and boating. Senate Bill 138 by Senator Ramsey of the 43rd and others, Elementary School Protection Act, enact. Senate Bill 156 by Senator Tollison of the 20th and others, surface mining, revise a definition. Senate Bill 189 by Senator Miller of the 40th and others, education, permit proprietary institutions of higher education to participate in establishing college career academies. Senate Bill 184 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd and others, Natural Resources Department, include an exemption for restoration of certain barns, promote Georgia tourist destinations. Senate Resolution 348 by Senator Hill of the 32nd and others, Georgia Program Integrity Joint Study Committee, create. House Bill 266 by Representative Peake of the 141st, Internal Revenue Code, certain provisions of federal law into Georgia law, incorporate. Through with the order, Mr. President.
This group right here, there's 6 people for these 2 resolutions.
We're about to have roll call.
Can we take, how many pastors are going to do the first resolution? 6 people. No, this is, Senator Wilkinson asked me if that would be possible. Oh my God, like do you think I'm
It's time for the morning roll call. Are there any motions to excuse? Chair recognizes Senator from the 44th.
I ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 5th, the senator from the 36th. Oh, she's here. Sorry.
5th.
The senator from the 5th, the senator from the 43rd.
43rd, 5th, and 43rd.
And the senator from the 26th.
And the senator from the 26th. Without objection, they will be excused. Any other motions to excuse? Chair recognizes Senator from the 17th.
Ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senators from the 18th and 19th business inside the Capitol.
18th and 19th. Without objection, they will be excused. Chair recognizes Senator 22nd.
Thank you, Mr. President. And ask for unanimous consent to excuse the senator from the 13th for business outside the Capitol.
13th, without objection. Any other motions to excuse? With senators, please signify your presence by voting the yea switch. The secretary will unlock the machine.
Chairman Sims, the chair of the Committee on Information and Audits, reports that the journal of the previous legislative day has been read and found to be correct. Is there any objection?
It's now time for our morning devotion. Senator from the 28th, your light's on. Senator from the 28th. 28th. Senator from 28, your light's on. Is there a accident? Okay. Yeah. It's now time for the morning devotion. Senators, please take your seats and cease conversation at this time. Those that need to exit the chamber, do so at this time. Senators, take your seats, cease conversation. Doorkeepers, secure the chamber at this time. And it's my honor to recognize the distinguished senator from the 38th District for the purpose of leading us in our pledge and introducing our chaplain of the day. Senator.
Good morning, colleagues. Let's do the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Now the Georgia flag.
I pledge allegiance to the Georgia flag and to the principles for which it stands, wisdom, justice, and moderation.
Colleagues, it is my great pleasure today to bring to you someone that I have been trying to get here since February of 2012. Reverend Lewis is a native of Statesboro, Georgia, and I saw Senator Hill look and go, I know this lady. She received her degree from Mercer University, a Bachelor of Science in Biology in 1985. She received her Master's of Science in Biology in 1988 from the University of West Georgia. Prior to her call to the ministry, she was a biologist in the academic and corporate sectors for several years. After answering God's call to ministry, she entered Gammon Seminary at the Interdenominational Theological Center here in Atlanta, where she earned a Master's of Divinity in Biblical Studies with honors, of course, as you would expect. On July 1 of 2010, she was appointed as the district superintendent of the Atlanta, Decatur, Oxford district. The reason I say I've been trying to get her here for a year is she came to Cascade, I believe it was first Sunday in February of last year, and she is just so anointed, as I'm sure Senator Hill will tell you. I just knew she needed to come and give us a word. So without any other discussion, I will bring forth the pastor of today, Reverend Lewis.
Thank you, Senator Tate, Lieutenant Governor Cagle, senators and guests, good morning. Our devotion for this morning is called How We Reach People. Will you all say that with me? How we reach people. We reach people first by being where they are, rather than telling them that they have to be conformed to where we are. We reach people by walking with them on their path, rather than stopping them and trying to get them to turn around and walk another direction on our path. We reach people by listening and engaging them, rather than lecturing to them. We reach people by guiding them, rather than forcing them. We reach people by loving them first, the unconditional agape love, before we expect them to love us. And finally, we reach people by forgiving them rather than holding grudges against them. Let us now pray. God our Father, show us how to reach people in our cities, in our state, in our nation. You guide everything in wisdom and love. Accept the prayers we offer for our city, our state, and our nation. In your goodness, watch over those in authority so that people everywhere may enjoy freedom, security, and peace. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen.
We have a local calendar today. We're going on to third reading and passage of uncontested local bills. We're about to take up the local calendar. House will come to order. If there is no objection, we will vote on the local calendar as a whole with a recorded vote. Hearing none, it is so ordered. The clerk will read the local calendar.
House Bill 432 by Representative Morris, 156, Appling County. House Bill 433, Representative Morris, 156, Appling County. House Bill 447, Representative Hatchett, 150, Lawrence County. House Bill 457, Representative Braddock, 19th, Paulding County. House Bill 466, Representative Rogers, 10th, Habersham County. House Bill 467, Representative Epps, 144, Twiggs and Wilkinson Counties. House Bill 479, Representative Dudgeon, 25th, Forsyth County. House Bill 484, Representative Williamson, 115th, Walton County. House Bill 485 by Representative Hatchett, 150, Truitland County. The above foregoing local bills have been before the House Committee on Intergovernmental Coordination. The committee recommends bills do pass. The bills being read today for the third time.
Is there any objection to the previous question being ordered on the local calendar? The chair hears none. The previous question is ordered. Is there any objection to agreeing to the report of the committee, which was favorable to the passage of the bills? The chair hears none. The report of the committee is agreed to. Shall the bills on the local calendar now pass? All those in favor of the passage of the bills will vote yes. All those opposed will vote no, and the clerk will unlock the machines. Have all members voted? Have all members voted? If so, the clerk will lock the machines. On the passage of the bills on the local calendar, the ayes are 156, the nays are 0. These bills have constitutional majority are therefore passed.
I agree. Are there any unanimous consents? Who? Okay. Is Senator Wilkinson? Are you ready, Senator? We have some special guests we'd like to recognize at this time. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 240 by Senator Wilkinson of the 50th. A resolution recognizing and commending Christopher B. Irwin, Georgia's 2013 School Superintendent of the Year, and for other purposes. Whereas Mr. Irwin is highly respected superintendent of the Banks County School System, a position he has held for 10 years, dedicating his time, talents, and energy to ensuring the highest quality education for the children of Banks County. And whereas Mr. Irwin was selected as Administrator of the Year for Carroll County Schools in 2000, named Citizen of the Year by Banks County Chamber of Commerce in 2006, and selected as Georgia Superintendent of the Year finalist in 2010, 2011, and 2012. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend Christopher B. Irwin for his outstanding commitment to education and on his selection as Georgia's 2013 School Superintendent of the Year. Senate Resolution 239 by Senator Wilkinson of the 50th. A resolution congratulating the Banks County Leopards wrestling team and for other purposes. Whereas the Banks County Leopards wrestling team accomplished their goal of winning the first ever state championship in Banks County high school history, and whereas the Banks County Leopards' tremendous record this season includes a first at D. Marlowe Duels, first at King of the Mountains, first at Morgan County, first at Tommy Warren Duels, first at Maynard Duels, silver bracket, first at 4 AAA area duels, first at AAA State Duels, sixth at Sham Slam, and first at AAA Area Traditionals. And whereas in the semifinals, the Leopards defeated Sonoraville 44-22 with key wins from Matt Dilbeck, Logan Free, Chris McCracken, Taylor Wood, Mason Patton, Francisco Hurtado, Tony Foltz, Wes Faulkner, Hayden Dilbeck, and Eli Smallwood. And whereas in the finals, the Banks County Leopards faced traditional wrestling powerhouse Woodward Academy in an extremely intense match. Now therefore be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body join in congratulating the Banks County Leopards in their first ever state championship victory and extend to them their most sincere best wishes for future success. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolutions? The chair hears none, and the resolutions are adopted. It's my honor now to call upon the distinguished Ag Committee Chairman, the Senator from the 50th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I particularly want the senator from the 8th to pay attention to this presentation, because sometimes he would have you believe that the only people that win state championships are from Lowndes County and Valdosta. So we're going to recognize these. We got a couple of special recognitions that we're going to make here this morning. One of them is for the state champion wrestling team at Banks County High School. Some of their members are up here with me, and I believe we have some more in the gallery. Would those of you in the gallery please stand so we can welcome you? It is a special privilege for me to be able to do this today and recognize this state championship wrestling team. This is the first state championship in the history of Banks County High School. Now, in 1983, I was teaching agriculture in a Butler building at Homer, Georgia. At that time, Banks County was the only county in the state out of 159 that didn't have any kind of traffic signal. And I came down to Atlanta and interviewed with Dr. Charles McDaniel and left Banks County to come to work in Atlanta. A lot of people said that helped both organizations. But be that as it may, I know that in 1968 they had a basketball team that was undefeated all year long and went to Macon and played in the state finals and was defeated in the finals. When I was teaching agriculture over there, I doubled as a bus driver, and I took their softball teams down to Al Bishop Park in Marietta, and they were in a double elimination tournament, and they made it to the finals without a loss, and then Broxton beat them twice to take the state championship. So I know this is real special to have this group of wrestlers here who won the first state championship in their school's history. Also, it's a real honor to have their county school superintendent, Mr. Chris Irwin, here today. He does a remarkable job. Their facilities, I used to teach in that old Butler building that didn't have any insulation. The last time I visited their program, they had theater seating in there, so it was a big change. But Mr. Irwin has been selected the 2013 Georgia Superintendent of the Year. He's been recognized in Carroll County, where he was a leader previously, for his leadership. Also, I'd like to mention that beginning July the 1st, the Banks County school system under his leadership will become a charter school system. They've worked hard the past 2 years to achieve this. And at this time, I'm going to present these resolutions to Superintendent Irwin and give him the opportunity to make some comments.
Thank you, John. We appreciate this honor, and thank you for recognizing the students up in the gallery and also behind me. Their accomplishments, not only on the wrestling mat, but in the classroom, is very impressive, and I have been blessed in my life to work in education for almost 30 years and among great people. And I want to thank you for your service that you do for the state of Georgia. This is a great state. I'm blessed to be in this state. I'm blessed to have people like you making decisions. I ask that you continue to make education a priority in this state. I see it every single day in the position I'm in, the difference it makes for not only our community, but our state of Georgia. So again, thank you very much for this opportunity to be recognized here, and definitely for recognizing these children. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Assistant Chief Parole Officer Louis Tang, Georgia State Board of Pardons and Paroles. Sergeant Craig Dong, Commander of the Criminal Investigative Unit at Cobb County, West Precinct 5. Helen Kim Ho, Executive Director of ALAC. Acting Consul General of Japan, Joji Miyamori. Estrella Crank.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 39th on a point of personal privilege.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, I rise on a point of personal privilege, and I know there is a lot of business going on, but I'd appreciate your attention. I want to talk about a couple things, but first I want to start by saying that after the Supreme Court arguments yesterday, I thought about that, and I thought about Antonin Scalia's comments that voting as it's being perpetrated with the Voting Rights Act is a racial entitlement. And I thought about my father when he said that. My father loved America. He loved this country very much. He was a patriot, and he thought it not robbery to serve in the military during World War II, and he sustained injuries that dogged him for the rest of his life, and he did not complain. He did not whine. He did not lament his injury. He was a productive citizen for the rest of his life. And he has gone on to glory, but I don't think he would have thought that voting was a racial entitlement. I think my daddy would have told you that he earned it. He earned that right. And so for a Supreme Court justice to talk about entitlements, I hope you can understand, even if you don't agree, how some might consider that an insult. But the case is in the Supreme Court's hands, and we'll never know. We do not know how the Supreme Court will judge. You know, the Affordable Health Care Act ruling is proof positive that it is difficult to predict how any court will rule on an issue. But I will say this. This is not necessarily about yesterday. It's not about 100 years ago. This is about today. We live in a state, and we are in a legislature that has passed several pieces of legislation which show that we need the Voting Rights Act now more than ever. This is a state who has passed voter ID laws designed to make it more difficult for people of color and others to vote. This is a legislature that has passed just last year, not 100 years ago, but just this year, has passed a law to decrease early voting. And then finally, we have just introduced or passed local legislation, I believe in Bibb County, to move elections from November to the summer, to July, even though we know what its impact on minority voting is. Just last year in 2012, the Department of Justice denied pre-clearance of a bill this legislature passed to move an election from November to the summer in Augusta because they recognized that it was an attack on minority voting. As a matter of fact, pre-clearance, Section 5 of the Voting Rights Act has been used 13 times here in Georgia, more than any other state except Texas. I would tell Justice Scalia, and I would tell the rest of the members of the Supreme Court, that the Voting Rights Act was achieved with the blood, sweat, and tears of a lot of folk. As a matter of fact, this is Bloody Sunday week, March 7th. 1965, people walked across that bridge into a new future, into a future of inclusion. And that only happened because of the Voting Rights Act. We stand strong in the cause of extending the franchise to all those who need it. We don't need to obstruct it, we need to nurture it, because there are a lot of people who have blood, sweated, and died for that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator from the 36, you wish to recognize a group in the gallery. I'd recognize you to do that at this time.
Thank you, Mr. President. Colleagues, we have visitors today, as we do every day. In particular, these students that are with us today come from families across my district, Senate District 36, and they are enrolled and achieving at South Atlanta High School, an Atlanta public high school that has a long tradition of excellence, and we are gifted today with the presence of their student government leaders who are spending a day with us at the Capitol. So please join me in recognizing in the balcony South Atlanta High School student government leaders. Thank you all, and come back.
Glad to have you. Great honor. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 346 by Senators Hinson of the 41st and others. A resolution recognizing and commending linemen from Georgia Power and the International Brotherhood of Electric Workers, Local 84, members of the Georgia AFL-CIO, for their diligence in responding to the needs of individuals in the aftermath of Hurricane Sandy and for other purposes. Whereas linemen from Georgia Power and the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 84, members of the Georgia AFL-CIO have been indispensable in the recovery efforts in Northeast America following Hurricane Sandy, which killed 149 residents and caused more than $50 billion in damage. And whereas this exemplary group of linemen devoted their time, talents, and energies to the recovery effort in order to relieve some of the impact of the natural disaster that proved tragic for many. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body join unanimously to applaud the accomplishments of these linemen and to convey to all of those involved in this legislative body's most heartfelt commendation of their efforts in the Northeast America following devastating hurricane on October 29, 2012. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Speak to the resolution and recognize our very special guest. I call upon the distinguished senator from the 41st.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate it. Mr. President, members of the Senate, I'm honored to be here thanking the members of Local 84, members of the AFL-CIO, and electoral workers specifically because of the commitment and the sacrifices they have made helping Americans throughout the country for a number of years, whether it was when the towers went down or other efforts, but most recently for their efforts at Hurricane Sandy, where I believe about 900 of their members were willing to go up there, spend weeks up there helping people who were having challenging, dangerous conditions. They have stepped forward, done what Americans should do, helping others, and make our country better. So to Doyle Howard and your membership, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank Yvonne Robinson and others here. And if you would, Doyle, come up and say a word, mention who else is here with you too, and we'll present that.
I'd like to thank you for this recognition for the best union, Local 84 workers in America and Georgia Power for treating us the way they do and all the help that they've given to other communities and the help of our linemen they give other people. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. I'd like to thank, I'm Yvonne Robinson. I'm the Secretary Treasurer of the Georgia State AFL-CIO, and I'm proud to have the IBW as part of our affiliates. These guys are hardworking men and women that help in the community. This is just an example of how unions are valued in the community and what they bring to our community. And I'd just like to thank the Senate for recognizing them because they work hard every day for no recognition. And this is an honor to have them recognized today.
Hear the resolution, Senator.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 34th.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate, and Georgia and the United States. I rise this morning as we come to the close of Heart Health Month to remind you all that the #1 killer of heart disease for everybody, not just women, this year marks the 10th year of my survival of my heart attack, and I want you all to take this month into the entire year, reminding yourselves to pay attention to your bodies, take care of yourselves, and remember, heart health is something so important to everybody, but particularly women. I want to remind you all to just take care of yourselves. Remember that even though February is the Heart Health Month recognition, Do not let it stop for the month of February. Remember, heart disease is the #1 killer of both men and women, and we want you to take care of yourselves. Thank you. I yield the well.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 35th for an announcement.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, we have the best of Douglas County with us today. We have students from Lithia Springs High School who represent the Honor Society, who have come down today to observe us and to meet all of us. So I would like to recognize James Cunningham, who is the Master Sergeant, and some of the young people are also in the ROTC. Will you please stand, Lithia Springs High School? And let's give them an official welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you very much.
Who's next? Senator from the 22nd, is he on the floor? 22nd? No. Huh? You want to be recognized? Senator from the 43rd is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. I rise this morning on a point of personal privilege as this is the last day of Black History Month, I was able to come earlier to you and to talk about how we, during the month of February, chronicled the progress that we made in America with respect to African Americans and the struggle that sometimes still continues. But we're honored today to have yet another first. And you've just heard from her. There has been two movements in this country, civil rights and organized labor. Often it says two movements, one goal. And that struggle has been intertwined as we have struggled for equality and justice in this country. And on this morning, you've had the opportunity to hear from the first African American and the first African American female to hold the title of Secretary Treasurer of the Georgia AFL-CIO, and Ms. Yvonne Robinson. Ms. Yvonne Robinson, who is in the chamber, please raise your hand and be recognized by the chamber for her outstanding leadership in 2013. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I yield the well.
I'd like to welcome former State Senator Leanne Levitan that's with us today. We appreciate her being here. Thank you very much. Always a great honor. I think she's in a group that'll be recognized shortly. Secretary will read a resolution.
A resolution by Senator Miller of the 40th. A resolution commending John Frederick Agel Sr. as the Distinguished Older Georgian for 2013. whereas he is still actively contributing to his state and community of DeKalb County, Georgia, at 85 years of age, whereas John Frederick Agel Sr. has provided leadership to the Metro Atlanta community through his corporate career and his community service with many social services organizations, improving the quality of life for all residents, and whereas Mr. Agel has attempted to retire twice and enjoy a life of leisure, only to become further engaged as a volunteer when he sees the need for caring, committed services in his community. And whereas he has demonstrated decades of commitment to social justice, the value of public health, and the need for access to public health for all citizens through his service as a founding member of the National Association of Local Boards of Health and the DeKalb County Board of Health, which he chaired for many years. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the body heartily commends John Frederick Agel Sr. for his dedication and caring service to his community and state, and extends to him its most sincere best wishes for continued health and happiness. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none, and the resolution is adopted. Speak to the resolution and honor our very special platform guests. I call upon the distinguished senator from the 40th.
Thank you, Mr. President. It's a great day in Georgia, folks, particularly for some of us older people. Senior Connections would like to nominate Fred Agel, to my left here, for the Georgia Council on Aging's Distinguished Older Georgian Award. Fred's a longtime supporter of Senior Connections, but he's just really one of the organizations he really supports. At the age of 84, a young 84, Fred has attempted to retire twice and enjoy a life of leisure. He's failed miserably because he cares, he's committed to service in his community. He's a World War II veteran, a corporate leader in Metro Atlanta. He still supports his favorite school, Oglethorpe University, located in my district, I might add, and St. Bartholomew's Episcopal Church, while just this year stepping down from the National Association of Local Boards of Health, of which he was a founding member. He also deals with the DeKalb County United Way Council, the DeKalb Council on Literacy, the Episcopal Charities Foundation, Jerusalem House, the DeKalb County Community Service Board. He was a founder of Senior Connections, served as a board member, worked on the Capitol campaign. Also, he was the DeKalb County Board of Health chair for many, many years, serving under many CEOs, including my friend Ms. Levitan here. He's committed to social justice, particularly public health. Whenever anybody asks Fred to lend a hand, this great man, husband, joined by his wife, father, joined by his daughter, is always there. Every time he says yes, everybody wins. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome John Frederick Agel Sr., the nominee for the Georgia Council on Aging's Distinguished Older Georgian Award. Fred?
I came down from New Jersey in 1948 to play baseball at Oglethorpe University. And one of my real idols in baseball was a fellow by the name of Phil Rizzuto, who was known as the Scooter because he could really take care of everything on the left side of the infield. He was there for some 14 years during the time when the New York Yankees won 10 awards, division awards, and 7 World Series. He left that and spent 40 years in broadcasting and TV, radio and TV, for the Yankees. And he came up with a famous saying when somebody hit a home run to win the game for the Yankees, or a real great catch in the outfield, he said, "Holy cow." Well, folks, I'm standing here right now and hollering, "Holy cow." Thank you for this honor. It has been a real pleasure to be a part of Senior Connections. And I'd like to introduce, you've been my wife, Catherine, my son, Rick, my daughter, Melissa, and my dear friend, Darrell Gay, who was several years ago headed up the state division of mental health, mental retardation, substance abuse, and came on to DeKalb County where I met him. Then there's Ms. Levitan, the former CEO of DeKalb and one of your comrades in the Senate, and it's always a pleasure to see her. Thank you. God bless you for this award. Thank you.
We're going to do a picture down here. And I'm sorry they didn't give me your name. That was hard. Okay. Great pleasure to meet you. Nice to see you. I didn't mean to leave your son out. They didn't.
Thank you.
I didn't get my script right. Thank you, Doc. Sure.
Thank you so much. Chair recognizes the senator from the 41st on a point of personal privilege.
Mr. President, members of the Senate, rise on kind of a substantive issue, an issue of governance. We have a bill coming before us probably tomorrow, one that is an important bill about taxation, car industry, and et cetera. Senate Bill 266, which was part of Senate Bill 80. And the whole process needs to be pointed out with some concern that we're here having to rush a bill at the last minute on such an important issue that was before us shortly after last session closed. You know, we had a problem last session when we brought a bill to the floor that had some problems in it that we were unaware of because it was rushed through. And now, again, on an important issue that we've known about for months, we rushed through at the last minute a bill which raises concerns and make it more difficult to pass. It's an issue that I want to pass a bill for leasing companies and others to benefit the state. But here's the important thing, the most important thing. We cannot govern unless there is fairness and that we follow the rules of the Senate. In the committee, there was a request for a roll call vote by a Republican senator on an amendment. That senator wasn't recognized, he was ignored, and that vote was never identified. The people who cast the vote weren't identified. The actual vote wasn't even secured because there was no roll call vote when asked for by a member. When the final vote came up, it was a close vote. But nobody even asked for division or a roll call vote because they didn't feel that fairness was going on in that committee. You know, that's happened to me in committees before. I remember Senator's 36 once, and a committee asked for a roll call vote. If a motion to table or a roll call vote is called, those motions should be recognized, and the senator should be shown the respect of their office, and the citizens should be shown that we have honest government. If the lieutenant governor and the leadership of this body will not make a sincere commitment to make sure the committee process is fair and open, then I don't see how members of my caucus or many other senators in other caucus can vote for an important bill like 266 if we don't have clarity that in the future you're not going to be told your amendment is a wimpy amendment and you better man up and do a different amendment, which I had happen to me once. You know, that's just not right. If an amendment's in order, if a motion's in order, if a call for a roll call's in order, the person should be recognized, shown the respect, and our committee process should be fair and open, and I demand that before I can vote for bills that are passed in this body. Also in the committee, a committee that was called basically at 11 o'clock in the first morning meeting. Notice went out at 11 in the morning, and I understand that. It wasn't a formal meeting. But when they had the 10 o'clock meeting, there was comments and requests for a fiscal note. And there was no fiscal note there. Again, if fiscal notes existed from 266 and HB 80, they should be presented. If final changes had made some possible change to the revenue implications, then somebody should have commented on that. You know, we have to follow rules to ensure fairness. You know, when I got elected to Senate, there were 45 Democrats and 11 Republicans. Someday you might, in the majority party, no longer be in the majority party. And it is important that you protect these rules for your own sake and the future of this state. I yield the will.
Thank you, Senator. It is important that we follow the rules, and appreciate your comments. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 364 by Senator Mullis of the 53rd. A resolution congratulating the Gordon Lee Memorial High School Lady Trojan softball team on their exceptional season and for other purposes. Whereas the Gordon Lee Memorial High School Lady Trojan softball team finished the 2012 season with a record of 35-4, and in addition to regular season accomplishments, 8 team members were appointed to the all-region team and 8 were selected for the all-state team. And whereas on October 27, 2012, the Gordon Lee Memorial High School Lady Trojan softball team became the Class A state champions for the 3rd consecutive year. And whereas Coach Dana Mull and assistant coaches Norma Nelson and Kevin McElhaney have demonstrated leadership and guidance in working with these students. And whereas this exceptional team includes senior Kaylee Kimbrell, juniors Jordan Hamill, Sarah Holcomb, Ashley McDonald, Tori McElhaney, Ainsley Underwood, and Megan Walensky. Sophomores Reagan Brown, Melissa Duran, Tiffany Holland, and Megan O'Toole. Freshmen Emily Armour, Kennedy Harris, Cortland Middleton, Addie Taylor, and Avery Weldon, and junior varsity Haley Hout, Brittany Heron, and Shay Wooten. Now, therefore, be resolved by the Senate that the members of this body congratulate the Gordon Lee Memorial High School Lady Trojan softball team on an exceptional season and wish them great success in the future. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair is none, and the resolution is adopted. My honor now to call upon the distinguished Rules Chairman of the Senate from the 53rd to recognize these very special guests.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is such an honor to represent such a beautiful area as Northwest Georgia, and especially a good small town like Chickamauga. But we don't only raise high academic students, but also great athletes. Today we're honoring the state champs for Class A, ladies softball champs, Gordon Lee High School, and this is their 3rd year in a row to be state champs. Please give them a hand, and if they will stand up in the audience too. Thank you.
Let's do a picture together, okay? Chair recognizes Senator from the 6th.
Good morning. This morning is Asian American and Pacific Islander Day here at the Capitol, and we have a few special guests that I would like to recognize. Captain Jerry Lou Kwan, he's up in the balcony there. Assistant Chief Parole Officer Louis Sang. Sergeant Craig Dong. A number of others. Helen Kim Ho. Acting Consul General of Japan, Joji Miyamori. Estrella Kramer. Attorney Hung Nguyen. Attorney Sanjay Kumar. Master Jong Lee and Mrs. Myung Lee. Connie G. Dr. Gulshan Harji from the Pakistani community, and Kalpana Bastola. Please give all these great Americans a warm round of applause.
Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you
Great
for being
honor.
here.
Thank you.
And also, there is a luncheon being hosted down at the depot from 11 to 2 p.m. if you can stop by for Asian American and Pacific Islander Day. Thank you so much.
Secretary will read a resolution for these beautiful little ladies.
Senate Resolution 66 by Senator Staten of the 18th and others. A resolution commending the Georgia Peach Festival and the 2012 Georgia Peach Queens and for other purposes. Whereas the Georgia Peach Festival originated in Peach County, Georgia in 1987, thanks to the inspiration of Mr. Harold Peavy, who conceived the festival for the purpose of promoting Peach County, Georgia, and the peach industry. And whereas in connection with this celebration, 5 very fine young ladies were crowned as 2012 Peach Queens, including Tiny Miss Georgia Peach, Bryn Owens, Little Miss Georgia Peach, Lauren Roberts, Junior Miss Georgia Peach, Caitlin Bustamante, Teen Miss Georgia Peach, Cassidy Starling, and Miss Georgia Peach, Anna Treadway. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Senate that the members of this body commend the Georgia Peach Festival for promoting the importance of this agricultural product of Georgia and congratulate the 2012 Georgia Peach Queens. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? The chair hears none. Resolution is adopted. Always great. No, that scared you, didn't I? Huh? That little hammer. It's always great to have our little Miss Peaches with us, and they absolutely are beautiful. And to speak to the resolution and recognize these great queens, I call upon the distinguished senator from the 18th.
Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate. This is a distinct honor as the senator for Peach County to have these distinguished guests with us in the State Senate chamber today. I'm happy to be joined by the senators from the 20th and 26th as we recognize these beautiful young ladies. All of you, of course, are quite familiar with the fact that Georgia is the peach state. And certainly you're also aware of the fact that peach, as one of our great agricultural industries in this state, has an enormous economic impact for the good of Georgia. Every year there's a peach festival in Peach County, and it has been a tradition in the Senate for many years to recognize the peach queens for the state of Georgia who are crowned in a peach scholarship pageant during this festival. And so I want to recognize them this morning and have you join me in congratulating them, our 2012 Peach Queens. I'm going to introduce them one at a time. First is Bryn Owens. Did I say that right? No. Bryn. Sorry, I didn't say it right. Stand corrected. Bryn is from Perry, Georgia, and she is Tiny Miss Peach Queen. Next is Lauren Roberts, Little Miss Peach Queen. Yeah, wave, that's right. Caitlin Bustamante, did I get that one close? Bustamante is our Junior Miss Peach Queen from Perry, Georgia. Cassidy Starling is the Teen Peach Queen from Canton, Georgia. And Anna Treadway is Miss Georgia Peach from Eatonton, Georgia, a recent graduate of Georgia Southern University. So we're proud to have all of you here today. We congratulate you on winning your titles and on the great representation you bring to our state, reminding us of the importance of the peach in Georgia history and in our economy. Welcome. We're glad, and would you join me in congratulating them today?
Okay, let's get a picture together, all right? Let's get a picture together. Come on down on the steps, okay? Down here, sweetie. It's good to have y'all. I look great. Beautiful. It's good to have y'all. Great. Yeah, good to have you. Let's do a picture. Chair recognizes Senator from the 22nd on point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the Senate. Today is February the 28th, I believe. And on this day, I want to take a moment to, again, reflect on what we've recognized as Black History Month. But I want to identify a figure that I think is important to many of us in this room, and that is the significance of Springfield Baptist Church. Springfield Baptist Church is of national significance because it's the oldest African American church in the United States. It is an example of the determination of African Americans not only to be independent from slavery, but also because the Georgia Republican Party originated at Springfield Baptist Church. Morehouse College, which has produced so many nationally prominent black leaders, was also founded there. And then finally, the Springfield Baptist Church stands today as proof of the great tradition and history of not only African Americans in this state, but in this country. Again, on this historic day, we recognize Springfield Baptist Church.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 3rd. Point of personal privilege.
Thank you, Mr. President. I know that many of you, there are local bills that are coming over from the House that affect your district. If you want that bill to move, I encourage you to go ahead and go over to the Secretary of the Senate's office and see Ms. Zoe. You'll need to sign off on the bill for it to move through the SLOGO committee. So just a note to remind you to do that. Thank you, Mr. President.
Are there any motions to withdraw or commit? Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 406 by Senator Schaefer of the 48th. A resolution congratulating Mr. Chase Chaskowski on being named one of the top youth volunteers in Georgia for 2013 in the 18th Annual Prudential Spirit of Community Awards and for other purposes.
She's got great neighbors. And we have great neighbors too.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted. We have a special group we'd like to present to the Senate today, and I call upon Senator from the 49th to introduce these lovely ladies.
Mr. President, it gives me great pleasure to introduce a group of distinguished ladies from Senator Unterman's district, actually. And I'm very proud that they're from her district because I wouldn't want them in mine. They're a little bit of troublemakers, and the head. This is the Buford contingent of the Stonehenge Garden Club, and has been in existence for over 50 years. And I think my mother was the original president. Mom, raise your hand. This is my mother, Mac Miller. Thank y'all for giving them a warm Senate welcome. I appreciate it very much. My mother taught me to hit a curveball. She taught me to dance in the kitchen. She taught me to love and to forgive, and I am very grateful for her influence in my life. Thank y'all very much.
Let's get a picture.
Let's get a photograph.
So good to have y'all with us today. It's great, really is.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. We're going to get a picture. Secretary will read a resolution.
Senate Resolution 407 by Senator Ford of the 39th and others. A resolution recognizing and commending Reverend Tony Mosley on the occasion of his 20th pastoral anniversary and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Senate Resolution 408 by Senator Hill of the 4th and others. A resolution recognizing and commending W. Scott Bulkey, M.D., and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Senate Resolution 409 by Senator Hinson of the 41st. A resolution congratulating the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers on the occasion of its 125th anniversary and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Senate Resolution 411 by Senator Calcett of the 46th and others. A resolution congratulating the Loganville Middle School Lady Red Devils basketball team on winning the 2013 Piedmont Athletic Conference Championship and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Senate Resolution 413 by Senators Orrick of the 36th and others. A resolution urging adult citizens of Georgia to strongly consider preparing an advance directive for health care that appoints their health care agent and states their treatment preferences and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Senate Resolution 414 by Senator Jones of the 10th and others. A resolution recognizing and commending Mr. Buck Godfrey on the occasion of his retirement and for other purposes.
Is there objection to adoption of the resolution? Chair is none. The resolution is adopted.
Through with the order, Mr. President.
Mr. Secretary, are there any objections filed on any of the local bills?
Mr. President, there are no objections filed in the Secretary's office.
Is there objection agreeing to the report of committee on the state and local governmental operations which failed to pass the bill? Chair hears none. All of those in favor of the local consent calendar will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the local consent calendar, the yeas are 50, the nays are 0, and these bills have received requisite constitutional majority, therefore pass. Moving on to the general calendar, the Secretary will read Senate Bill 10.
Senate Bill 10 by Senator Carter I. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 1 of Chapter 26 of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to registered professional nurses so as to provide for continuing competency requirements as a requirement for license renewal and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from the first to present the bill. Please give the senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senators, I bring before you today Senate Bill 10. This is a bill that simply will require nurses to have continuing competency or continuing education, if you will, as a requirement for them to be relicensed. Nursing in the state of Georgia is the only allied health field where we don't require them to have continuing education, and this will close that loophole and now require them. As you all know, in all fairness to them, nursing is a very diverse field, and we recognize that, and we have addressed the issues that many nurses get training through their different specialties. We've addressed that and made an agreement to where they will be credited with that kind of special training, so that goes toward their continuing education requirements. Mr. President, if there are no questions, I'll yield the will.
No questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Agreeing to report of committee which failed to pass the bill. Chairs none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chairs none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the pass of the bill. All those in favor of the bill vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 51, the nays are 1, and this bill, having Rex Constitution majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read Senate Bill 128.
Senate Bill 128 by Senator Miller of the 40th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Chapter 10A of Title 43 of the OCGA relating to professional counselors, social workers, and marriage and family therapists so as to revise definitions relating to marriage and family therapy and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Health and Human Services recommends that this bill do pass. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the distinguished senator from the 40th. Present the bill. Please give Senator your attention.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 128, there is one change in the definition for marriage and family therapists. It allows them to diagnose. The reason we're doing this, these people are licensed by a composite board. They have to have a master's degree, 4 years of supervised experience. We did a similar thing for social workers a couple of years ago. The concern is, if you look at insurance forms, for example, everyone says the word diagnose. And it's a concern with regulatory agencies. In fact, I've actually got a letter from our own Department of Behavioral Health requiring someone has to diagnose before they're basically going to get reimbursed. It's the reason we're doing this bill. And the other portion of the bill is that we've got a new overall licensing agency. It's approved by our composite board. They recognize this change. The Counselor for Higher Ed is being a new accreditation body. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
No questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Agree in the Porter Committee which favor pass the bill. Chairs none and Porter Committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chairs none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Question on the pass of the bill. All those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary, unlock the machine. On the passage of the bill, the yeas are 44 and the nays are 8. This bill, having Rex Constitution majority, is therefore passed. The Secretary will read Senate Bill 140.
Senate Bill 140 by Senators Murphy of the 27th and others. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 33-7-6 of the OCGA relating to property insurance, contract requirements, rules and regulations and exemptions so as to include contracts, agreements, and instruments for the repair of certain wear and tear of a motor vehicle to include rips, burns, tears, holes, and punctures and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Insurance and Labor recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. The Insurance and Labor Committee offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 140. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Code Section 33-7-6 of the OCGA relating to property insurance, contract requirements, rules and regulations, and exemptions so as to include contracts, agreements, and instruments for the repair of certain wear and tear and for other purposes. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President, and members of the Senate. I bring to you today Senate Bill 140. It's not often we get a bill that actually helps consumers and helps the businesses at the same time. What this bill simply does is add into the code section where dealers can offer extended warranties when people buy their cars, and the warranties would include rips, burns, tears, holes to the fabric or the carpet, cosmetic repair of the minor scuffs and scratches, also cosmetic repair to aluminum wheels. This is similar to when you go buy a set of tires and they ask you if you want an extended warranty on your tires for hazard. This is doing the same thing and just adding it into the code to where they can offer this as an extended warranty. If there's no questions, Mr. President, I would yield the well and appreciate your vote. Thank you.
No questions, Senator. The questions on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? To agree in the report of committee which fail pass the bill. Chair is none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? Chair is none. Main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? Questions on the pass the bill. All of those in favor of the bill vote aye. Those opposed no. Secretary unlock the machine. On the pass of the bill, yeas are 53 and the nays are 0. And this bill, having received requisite constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Secretary will read last bill of the day, SB 142.
Senate Bill 142 by Senator Miller of the 40th. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 23 of Title 47 of the OCGA relating to salary, retirement, death, and disability benefits under the Georgia Judicial Retirement System and for other purposes. The Senate Committee on Retirement recommends that this bill do pass by substitute. The Senate Retirement Committee offers the following substitute to Senate Bill 142. A bill to be entitled an act to amend Article 6 of Chapter 23 of Title 47 of the OCGA relating to salary, retirement, death, and disability benefits under the Georgia Judicial Retirement System so as to provide that the Board of Trustees shall have the authority to determine the time and circumstances of paying benefits and for other purposes. Read the whole thing. This is to certify that this substitute bill is a non-fiscal retirement bill as defined in the Public Retirement System Standards Law. Through with the order, Mr. President.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 40th present the bill. Chamber's a little bit noisy. Let's quieten it down just a little bit, get our voices more to a whisper opposed to a recognizable tone in which the president can hear.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm working on the committee substitute LC 371548S. I'm sorry, that's the wrong bill, excuse me. My apologies. Okay. LC 21. LC 2123S on the substitute. The first section of this bill on line 17, what it does is allow us to be in compliance with the federal income statutes. I'd like to call your attention on the substitute to particularly lines 39 to 51. I want to explain this to you. Right now in our system, people are allowed to do what we call double dipping, so that when they retire, they can come back and work up to 1,040 hours a year, okay, and continue to get their pension and be paid wages for the 1,040 hours. Some of us have concerns with that, but that's the current law. What this bill does is when someone comes back and does that in a particular agency, if they work more than 1,040 hours and the agency does not notify the retirement system, then they've got to repay the retirement system that excess funds that have been paid to that employee. This gives the department an ability to enforce against people working more than the 1,040 hours. And that's the purpose of the bill. It's an enforcement provision. I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 26th for a question.
Gentleman yield.
Yes.
To my illustrious chairman. Question is, what happens? Isn't it true? I thought that when they retired and go back to work, they don't get any benefits outside of a salary, and that was one of the reasons that a lot of folks are hired who had a specialty or who could do a job. They didn't have to pay any benefits. They only got the salary because they had retired.
Thank you for the question. I'm going to refer you to lines 34 to 38. The retirement allowance of a retired member who returns to the service of the state in any position without limitation, other than a member of the assembly, he can't perform more than 1,040 hours. He continues to draw his retirement, but he gets paid wages for the 20 hours. That's why it's called the double dipping. Now, some people have some problems with that, but that's not what this bill deals with. That's a bigger issue, I think, in the long run for us to address. The reason we've allowed double dipping is, number one, we had shortages in certain area. Okay, that's the first thing. The other thing is we obviously haven't done a very good job about training our employees to be able to take people's jobs over when they retire. Now, with the current unemployment rate, we may have to revisit it in the next year or two.
The gentleman yield further.
Yes, sir.
In no way will this affect teachers, will it?
That is correct.
Right. I just wanted to make sure you
That's correct. The teachers, they're allowed to work so many days, which is almost, it's like a half year, so it works out the same way, basically.
But to the gentleman, isn't it true that teachers have been hired on a full contract who have retired but don't receive any benefits? They only receive the salary as far as the teaching, because there might have been a shortage if they needed a biology teacher or a science teacher or a counselor.
Quite frankly, Senator, I don't have that answer. We'll research it for you, we'll check, but I don't know the answer on it. I think you're possibly right, but I do not have the answer.
Chair recognizes Senator from the 43rd for a question.
Thank you, Mr. President. Does the senator yield?
Yes.
Senator, I heard the earlier question from the senator from the 26th regarding teachers, but does the definition under this bill include school districts or just state agencies?
The school districts are done on a number of days. They're not based on the 1040 hours for a year, so they're done. It's a different system. So this is based on the 1040 hours. It does not apply to the teachers. They're done on so many days, which is about half the year is basically how that works.
Thank you, Senator.
Chair recognizes the senator from the 13th. Your question?
Senator Yield.
Yes, sir.
Would this affect senior judges in any manner?
I would never offend a senior judge. And if you're working more than 1,040 hours, we need to talk.
So it does.
If you would work more than 1,040 hours,
And what?
that's 20 hours a week, basically.
Senator Yield.
Yes.
And what would the penalty be now?
The penalty will be that if the department does not report that, then they have to pay back the benefits to the particular agency.
Will the
to your particular retirement system.
Senator Yield, for one more question.
Yes, sir.
But that would not, the senior judge would not have to repay that.
No, it's the department is how it reads here in the bill.
All right, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
No further questions, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Questions on the adoption of the committee substitute. Is there objection? Without objection, committee substitute is adopted. Does any other senator wish to speak for or against the bill? Is there objection? Grant report of committee which favor pass the bill. Chair is none. Report of committee is agreed to. Shall the main question be now put? Are there any objections? The chair is none and the main question is ordered. Shall this bill now pass? The question is on the pass of the bill. All of those in favor of the bill will vote aye. Those opposed, no. Secretary will unlock the machine. Senators, please do not forget your pages. We have a number of pages that are awaiting pictures, so please make arrangements for that. On the pass of the bill, the yeas are 49 and the nays are 0. And this bill, having received the constitutional majority, is therefore passed. Chair recognizes the distinguished majority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the Senate stand adjourned until 9 a.m. Friday, March 1st, 9 a.m.
9 a.m. The majority leader's moved. Read the announcements.
Rules will meet upon adjournment in 450 cap. Government oversight will meet upon the adjournment of rules in Mes 1. Education and youth will meet at 1 p.m. in 307 CLOB. Insurance and labor will meet at 1 p.m. in 450 cap. Public safety will meet at 1 p.m. in 125 cap. The 2 p.m. finance meeting is canceled. The natural resources and environment meeting will be at 2 p.m. in 450 cap. Banking and financial institutions at 3 p.m. is canceled. Veterans, military, and homeland security will meet at 4 p.m. in Mes 1.
The majority leader has moved that we stand adjourned until 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. All those in favor will say aye. All those opposed, no. Ayes clearly have it. We stand adjourned. The